All right, y'all, I'm here with Scott, and we're at Scott's Florida Kingsnakes. He is well known here in Florida for breeding some of the craziest morph king snakes in the world. So we're about to take a little tour of his place, and he's gonna show us some incredible snakes. What is this, Scott?
This is Andy, the Anory. This is our first morph. This is the one that started it for us all.
Yeah.
This is the one that changed the way of just breeding normals to starting morphs.
Yeah. And how long have you had this guy?
We've had him since 2012.
2012. Yeah. The cool thing about, I know a lot of people think snakes will live only like 5-10 years. Some snakes can live 30 plus years.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
He's actually a retired breeder now.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get to. He doesn't get to go with the girls anymore because he's only a single gene.
Yeah. But if he wanted to, you could still breed him.
He would breed just fine.
How old will these guys actually get in the wild?
In the wild, probably, honestly, between 15 to 20 years.
Yeah. And
depending on environmental issues, but they should get easily 15 to 20 years.
What about in captivity? How long what's the oldest
They should be able to go 30 years.
30 years
in
easy?
captivity, it's taken care of.
Right.
There's no issues.
No predators, nothing to worry about.
It should absolutely go a lot longer.
Okay, so you said this is a single gene animal, an Anory. And I want to see some of your craziest snakes. I know you've had some world's first even.
We'll put some mixes out.
So let's go take a look at those.
Is a Hibino Mosaic Florida King. T-negative Hibino.
T-negative Hibino. So there's not a little speck of melanin on this snake.
Yep.
And Hibino is just a hypo albino, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Now this is a pretty, king snakes for most people that keep reptiles is a very easy to keep snake. It's a great starter snake, and you feed these guys once they're adult size. How often are you feeding them?
I feed once a week.
Once a week still? Nice.
Babies I feed every 3 to 4 days.
Okay, yeah, king snakes will eat. The king snakes have some of the best feeding response out of all my snakes for sure. That's a baby?
Yep.
Wow, look at the color change. So they start that bright orange, huh?
Yep.
Wow, that's incredible. So they start yellowing out with age. And how old is this snake I have on my hand? 2020? 5 years old. Wow.
And this is last year's baby.
That's incredible. That's crazy, like how much color,
Too bad they didn't stay like this.
Yeah, right. Is there any that stay that red, that orange?
Yeah, I have some. I'm learning a couple different genetics that the hets are actually, the het markers are actually changing the way the animal looks.
Really?
So by adding different hets to things, I'm bringing things out that normally aren't noticed.
Interesting. That's the cool thing about like playing with genetics and what we do, like breeding all these different mutations that sometimes you find out things that, aren't supposed to be a certain way, but
and then
makes them look completely different. Yeah.
And then like that snake there is also Het Hypo Anory, and this is one of the siblings to that one that you just saw.
That's crazy. So what's the morphotype on that one?
Anory is part of, this is an Anory Ghost mosaic.
Okay. And the mosaic is what scatters the pattern like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. But it's the Anory that's helping hold the red. The Het Anory is what's helping hold the red in the babies.
Gotcha.
That's a trade secret I haven't shared yet.
Well, there you go.
So anybody that listened,
first time here,
they just heard that.
Now people are gonna give you a run for your money, Scott. Yeah, that one's not as red as the other one.
Yeah, like this is typically.
Still incredible though.
That's typically a Hypo Mosaic.
And I want to show that tail. They do that because they're mimicking a rattlesnake, correct?
Yeah.
Is that what
just a defensive feature?
Yeah, like. I've always been told that's like kind of like a mimicry.
Yeah, he's just showing you, hey, I ain't happy with you.
Yeah, I'm not having a good time. Yeah.
But then as some of them hold more hets, they hold more color.
Look at that. And that's also...
This is a year-old snake where it should be changing like the other one did, where it starts losing it, but a year later and it's still holding.
Interesting. So about a year, you start to see that color change?
You start seeing a change in a year.
That's crazy.
Usually by the second year, the change is done.
Wow. That's an Anory.
This is a Anory Ghost Eerie Mosaic.
Is Ghost kind of like with other animals, is like a hypo type?
Yep.
Okay.
Like a Hypo Anory or a Hypo Exantic.
Gotcha. Sweet.
The genes are basically the same through, like even cornsnakes and everything. A ghost is a ghost.
Yeah.
A ghost is, in a ball python, it's still same a ghost.
Right. Like a hypo.
Yeah,
correct.
and with Florida Kings, all the genes are recessive The genes are easy to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I find that recessive genes tend to like hold their value a lot better than the dominant or incomplete
well, because
dominant.
they take 6 years to get to the end product.
Yeah.
Like some of these projects were in 10, 12 years.
How long before a baby snake will be ready to breed?
Typically 3 years.
3 years?
I breed a lot of them at 2 years, but I also make a lot of mice and they get fed well. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. I'm gonna put this guy back.
Yeah.
Let's see some other ones. All right, we'll show Axanthic Mosaic and Anory.
The difference between the Anory.
All right,
The
so
Anory has a crisp color where the Axanthic is always more waxy.
yeah, so Anory and
Looks washed
Axanthic
out.
are very similar in what they do. They take away some of the yellow and red pigment.
Yes.
Now, that's which one?
Anory.
That's the Anory, and this is the Axanthic.
Axanthic.
Okay, so the Axanthics have the solid black
Yes.
eyes, and then the Anorys have the delineated eye?
It's delineation between the iris
Okay,
and
gotcha.
the pupil, so you can see.
Sweet. Dude, these snakes are amazing.
But the waxed out look is typical of Axanthic.
It's true, is they don't get too big, it's not too overwhelming. A lot of people don't
No.
want to get into...
Andy's about as big as they get,
Yeah,
and he's actually a monster.
yeah.
Even with all the animals we have, he's pretty much the biggest one.
Now with king snakes, is it the females get a little bit bigger or the males and females are pretty much the same size?
It kind of depends on the snake. It's just a personality
Yeah,
thing. 'Cause
yeah.
Some of
I
them
guess
get
some eat
bigger, some
better
of them
and-
don't. Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, like some other colubrids I know like get the females would get a lot bigger.
Some of them are happy to see you, some of them aren't.
Yeah, sweet. Let's put this one back.
Well, like even that snake there, that snake doesn't get handled on the regular. It's
Yeah,
a
and it's
breeder.
super
and you
chill.
see she's calm. She doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah,
The older they get, the more confident they get, the more calm they are. They
yeah.
just don't care.
Yeah, it makes sense. Kind of like any other.
Like the Anory I just took out, he was a little on the schizo side, but the female that he breeds just laid, and now she's ovulating again. So he's out of his mind, pacing the cage. He's like, hey, I know you're there. I know you're there.
Yeah.
He's going bananas.
Now, when you breed these guys, do you pair them up at a certain time of year and then you separate? How long do you have them together for? When do you separate them? When do you put them together?
I actually, as springtime comes, I start heavy feeding. Once I start seeing sheds, then I start pairing. The sheds indicate ovulation, so that would be your time of trying to pair them together. They're Florida Kings, so
Yeah.
if she's ovulating, you'll know in 10 seconds if she's ovulating or not, because he's gonna
They try to eat each other?
yeah, it's either dinner or date.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the reason they're called king snakes is because they're the king of all snakes, and they'll eat other snakes like corn snakes. And
But if you time those sheds correctly and they're fed up, I had maybe one issue out of 300 snakes this year where they were tied up in a knot. But for the most part, as long as you're timing their sheds, then you pair them. When I pair them, depending on the group, some snakes I'll have their younger groups and not really wanting to trigger yet. I'll put 4 females in there with 2 males to try to stimulate ovulation. On the normal, an ovulated female, I put the male in the female's cage, and in 10 seconds they're breeding, and sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's 10 hours.
And as soon as they copulate, when they separate, you take them and you put them back in, or you leave them together?
Sometimes I leave them together, depending on how important I want to make sure that she's bred. Honestly, if you see a lock, she's bred.
Yeah.
Even if it's 10 seconds, it's done.
And how many eggs do they typically lay?
I get between 8 and 15.
8 and 15 eggs for a good sized female. Nice.
Yeah, I've had one this year went 22.
22.
But then I've had a dozen that only gave me 5 or 6 eggs. So
Gotcha.
And the average can span from year to year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can lay a lot. Sometimes it just depends on how she ovulated. The female dictates everything.
How many follicles she develops herself.
You can't
She
make them. You
develops
can't force them.
X amount
All
of
you can do is
Right.
let them. Anory complex, where it's T-negative anory.
T-negative. And so if I saw this, I would think it's a T-negative albino, but it's a T-negative
You
Anory.
see how the anory takes the yellowing away from it?
Yeah.
So it's more white than the Hibino is.
Yeah, it is. Super cool.
This is another one of our projects that we're really trying to make in Mosaic.
Okay. And Mosaic, is that a selectively bred like look, or is that also a recessive?
It's recessive.
Oh, it is recessive. What's this up here?
This is that Hypo Mosaic that always fades.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw orange. I'm like, oh man, that's cool.
This is one that's holding color, and it's in shed, so it's really not.
Yeah, it's about to shed.
And she also just laid eggs.
Wow.
So she looks taxed.
Yeah.
She's about to shed.
She's looking
But you see
good.
how she held that red a lot.
Yeah, that's incredible.
At this size, they're usually not red.
Now, what was she exceptionally red
Yes.
when you first hatched her, and that's why you hold her back?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I peeped it out of like the corner of my eye, just saw how orange that was. I'm very particular for the orange animals.
This is a Hypo jelly.
Sweet.
This is, well, with the peach colors.
Yeah.
This is, well, we're trying to make in Mosaic, but
Okay.
we haven't yet.
So the jelly gives it that peach look.
Yep.
That peachy look. And they'll lay in this moss here.
Yep, it's just
It's a
sphagnum
little
moss.
humid. Uh-huh.
This is the same thing that
Yeah.
everybody
use
does.
for
50,
geckos,
yeah,
for
you
everything.
just wet it,
yeah.
squeeze it out, and
Yeah.
there it is. It's the community standard.
Yeah, pretty much.
I give them their own fresh so that I don't, once they lay in their tub,
Yeah.
I don't swap it out and give it to somebody else.
Right, the
Because that
sense.
sometimes can stress them.
Yeah.
And if you stress them and they're afraid of something eating their eggs, they'll eat their eggs.
Really?
So they have
They're
to
like,
be,
if somebody's gonna use these eggs for
Yep.
energy, it's gonna be me.
Yep.
Interesting. Wow, I did not know that. So basically, you use that moss once, and then you throw it out for the, and then okay.
Yeah, and
super
you
cool.
buy a brick on Amazon for $30. So
Yeah.
to reuse something that's so cheap.
Yeah, no,
like-
it doesn't make sense. We don't reuse it for the geckos
We're
either.
all about disposable this, disposable that. And
What's
then
this
also-
thing? This one's pretty cool.
This is the Eerie Ghost.
Eerie Ghost.
This is also another project we're trying to make in Mosaic, which
Wow.
we're almost there. We got a bunch of eggs from this. this year.
I see you're talking a lot about Mosaic. Is Mosaic like the newer?
The Mosaic is the,
the
new
newer-
thing.
the
Everybody
new
wants
thing.
the Mosaic.
Yeah.
And this is
Interesting.
just a normal
That's incredible.
normal
snake.
phenotype
Yeah.
pattern, actually.
Is that a single gene?
No.
What is
Actually,
that?
3 gene.
Anory,
It's Eerie, Hypo.
Eerie, Hypo,
And Anory.
Anory. And then it's also nice.
A lot of people were saying that this ice was just Eerie and Anory,
Yeah.
but after breeding it, making hets so many times, there's Hypo in it too.
That's cool.
I've made probably more hets than anybody, and Hypo pops out in it very regularly.
That's so dope.
Here's another.
Wow.
This will show you the difference between the Hibinos with the het, Anory, or Exantic. Do you see how it's more orange?
Yeah, it is.
It's het Eerie, or Anory instead of Exantic. The het
Okay.
Exantic, they fade out more, but when they're het Anory, they hold that color so much more.
Wow.
Which
yeah, I
we
love it.
just lucked into that by doing 2 different projects at the same time and raising them and be like, wow, why is this one so much more orange? The only difference is Anory. Well, then when we did it a couple of times, it started to show consistency. So we're like, oh, that's what it is.
Wow.
But unless you did 20 of them at a time, you never would notice to be able to figure that out.
Yeah. And going back to like just the basic care on them, because a lot of people that watch the videos or like might want to get one or whatever, you keep, do you keep heat tape on these, or you just
No.
have them in ambient because we're in Florida, obviously?
Ambient temperature.
Right. But if somebody lives in
My problem
Michigan,
with, I still prefer ambient temperature no matter where you live.
Yeah.
You're safer to heat the room.
yeah,
It's easier to control the room than to control this rack.
right, because it can malfunction and it overheats.
If your
it.
timer malfunctions or your thermostat malfunctions, this plastic goes on fire and now you live in a tent.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
happens to the best people. I definitely don't recommend heat tape.
Right. Ambient temperature is always the best.
always
and the
safe.
good thing about here is we're in a garage, so like they're Florida Kingsnakes. We just open up the garage and they have that Florida heat,
Yeah, I'm
that
lucky
Florida
with that
warmth
too.
and
I can
humidity.
exploit the temperature.
Yeah.
Like this is what, when it's hot, they like it hot. When it's cold out, that's when I brumate. When
Yeah.
it's 40 degrees out for 2 days, that's when I brumate for 2 days. I open up the doors and they're like, hey, it's wintertime.
Yeah.
So that's my season change.
I mean, they're Florida. They should be used to it, but like,
Yeah.
you know. But that's interesting. That's
I don't try
funny.
to stress over the temperature. A lot of people stress over the temperature, and
Yeah.
I just keep the extremes off. I don't let
Right.
it get 95,
Right.
but it gets 85 and 90.
Yeah.
And then in the cold, sometimes it gets 50 or 60 degrees for
Yeah.
a day or two, but
But when it gets really low, below
I don't
40,
let it get
you
below
don't-
40. So I'll let them feel their season change or fluctuations. I don't keep them steady 81 degrees all year long.
Gotcha. Are you feeding less during the winter than you are in the summertime and breeding season? Or?
A little bit during those cold weeks. If we get a couple cold weeks, everybody will get skipped. But as soon as it warms up, everybody's knocking on the door. Hey, hey, what are you doing over here?
Again, king snakes just like, they don't have a problem feeding, so it's a great beginner snake for that reason too. What are these? Are these
These are actually just
normals? Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, look,
filled this water bowl there.
Oh yeah.
But I love even just a normal pattern.
She just laid eggs yesterday, so
she did?
She gets in her water bowl and smashes it out, and I let them have that wet time.
Yeah.
When they lay, the first thing they want to do is get in the water. So I let them smash their tub out for a couple of days. Yeah, it has something to do with hydration.
Yeah.
A lot of people pull their water because they're afraid of the snake laying eggs in the water, but that's the first thing that she wants. I actually think it's borderline animal cruelty if you withhold water from them when they're laying.
Yeah,
I think you're safer to risk the eggs, which doesn't happen often, but I would rather lose the eggs than her suffer after she lays eggs.
Right.
And then she's dehydrated, and what if that makes her egg bound or something on her next lay because she got dehydrated? So I don't hold water at all.
Gotcha.
My biggest thing is making sure everybody has water. That's what they do to it. Which then you got to dictate how much water you put in it, because you put it in too much, she'll fill that cup.
Yeah.
But I also do the cups so that they're
elevated.
I do the cups so that you see how the cup cannot flip over.
Ah, I see. That's why you have this big piece of PVC. Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea.
She can't get under it. She can't spill it. The only thing she can do is flood it.
Honestly, that's a great idea. I've never, all my freaking snakes spill the water bowl left and right.
My tricks and tips.
There you go. But experience goes a long way.
Yep. I'll give you another tip. That 4-inch pipe, you can't cut with a 12-inch saw. You need a 14-inch saw.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
To cut it smooth. This is one of our newer projects that we're trying to work on.
Wow.
And this is
this
is just the het. I'm not going to say what we're doing with it because we haven't made it yet.
I got you.
It's going to be something.
Yeah.
This is the byproduct het that we're shooting for.
Okay, so this is a mystery morph we don't know yet.
This is going to make the brightest colored snake probably on the planet.
It's already super bright. Oh, really? All right, maybe we'll stop by Scott's table and check them out.
And that shows an extreme situation where the snake's 2 years old, and I bred them, and they bred just fine.
Yeah.
If that snake ovulates, she'll breed.
Yeah.
So people that think that you have to wait till they're 3 years old, it's really different.
Every animal is different. It's the same with geckos. Some geckos can go sooner. Wow. Those colors are insane. I don't think I've ever seen a king snake like this.
Yeah. And like this is the female.
Oh my God. Wow.
But these are the byproduct hets. Like these aren't even the hit yet.
Yeah. That's not the visual of what you're trying to go.
This has us so close. This is like.
Yeah, like. Get along. Put some sweet music there.
But we did have good luck with them. This is the only female that hasn't laid out of the project, and all these 15s are all from this project. And you just paired her up. And no, I thought she was gravid, and she's not. And everybody else already laid, and she's hiding in her lay box, so I pulled it out, and I'm like, you're not even pregnant. Back to the dude. This one just laid too, just a couple hours. Actually, I got some eggs over there. I just pulled from these.
Now, what temperature do you typically incubate the eggs?
Whatever temperature it is.
Okay. So ambient as well?
Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I try to goal it towards 80-ish degrees, but when it's 95 outside, it gets 85 in here, so it gets hot. Like right now, the incubator is like 85, 86 degrees. As long as it's inside that cooler and that temperature rise and decrease is not rapid, it's not an issue.
Gotcha. All right. Now, I know your daughter works with some badass Mexican black king snakes. You want to show us some of those? Sweet. All right, show us what you got.
So I started with these probably about 8 years ago. I picked 2 out of a rack of probably 1,000 at Ben Siegel Reptiles back when Ben Siegel was doing Ben Siegel's thing. And I've been line breeding them to get the solid black chins. I'll show you that first.
Now, Mexican black kings are some of our most popular king snakes. And
so she's got that solid black chin.
Yeah, wow, that's so dope.
Which I achieved, but in achieving that, and she's in shed, so it's gonna be a little dulled.
Yeah, she
are red bellies, which I've coined my Black Widow line.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen like that color on a Mexican black king.
Why don't she show you a couple of the babies? They're insane.
Yeah, the babies
really?
are even more fire.
So this is like the beginning of the project, basically. How long have you been working on this?
She was my first one, and she's a 2020, so this will be my 5th year working with them.
Gotcha. 5 years old and still retained all that red.
Yeah.
Where normally, if they're a little bit white on the belly, by 5 years they lose that white.
Yeah,
and they completely black out. So we thought it was going to go away, but it got more intense. They're in here.
Oh wow.
So I have them labeled. They have pink hearts, and they're all very, very much food motivated.
Yeah.
So they're holding. She's gonna bite me.
Just let her grab me.
They're holding that red, and as I keep breeding them, they're getting more and more red as.
That was not even a really red one.
I wonder if you could just have the whole bottom like red.
That's my goal.
This is the first year that she's actually bred the.
This is my first year producing
the male.
To the original?
Yeah, so she's bred Black Widow line to Black Widow line now.
Yeah, this year's my first year actually getting the Black Widow to the Black Widow. Left me a present, even though that's my favorite when they do that.
When they poop in their shed.
When they poop in their shed.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Has some red.
Look at that. Give it to Scott. He doesn't mind getting bit.
It's not that I mind it. It doesn't hurt. They just don't let go.
Actually, those are her snakes for a reason.
See how it's not that solid black? It's almost looks like a Hershey's chocolate bar.
Yeah. So I've even seen some with pattern on them. Like that. They have like specks.
You see the Splendida pattern on some of them.
So these still have
but these have like a dullness to them, like a chocolate.
The solid black chin.
Yeah.
But they have that brown chocolate color, so we're gonna see what.
I don't know if it's T positive.
I don't know if it. Yeah, we're trying to see if it's T positive, and if it's T positive, I'm gonna try to push it.
Or if it's a hypo or something.
Yeah, it's not as dark as the other ones.
But this was the first one that I produced to this, so I actually just bred them to each other this year.
With these, there was only a couple of them, and she hatched like probably 200.
You see how dark she is compared to him in the light?
Yeah, especially, it's hard to get the right lighting, but I see it. Yeah, another great snake, honestly. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hard to really pick up on.
Yeah, on the camera.
It's such a subtle difference that you can see a little bit of a bronzing in this, but the other one is more black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what you would call it. More
but she only hatched a couple out of a few hundred
but this
babies,
is,
so we're
but this is what the normal belly on them looks like. Well, this is a really dark one too, but no red, as you can see.
He has a little red on his flank.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a part of the red belly thing, if it's some kind of T positive,
like
T negative,
hypo-ish type. Yeah, from this lighting, I could definitely see how he's not as pitch black.
He's got like a Hershey's chocolate color to him.
Yeah.
They really stood out.
And how old is this guy, you said?
He is a 22.
2022? Mm-hmm. Wow. He's pretty. Now, aside from the Mexican Black Kings, do you have any other snakes or projects that you're working on?
We fiddle with the cornsnakes a little bit. So we have...
I saw a Palmetto earlier somewhere.
These are our Heliconas, which is A-male red factor Spectre Anory.
All right, that's a mouthful. I don't know.
Yes.
The corn.
But they're pretty.
So A-male,
pretty pink.
Spectre, Hypo. Say Hypo?
Or well, the Spectre is a hypo.
Oh, okay. Spectre is a Hypo.
They're basically red factor Spectres.
Okay. It's like a bubblegum pink snake. Very cool.
Yeah.
It's not even in shed, right?
It is. No, that's
how it looks.
What they look like.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's in shed, right? So light.
No, that iridescence is.
Yeah, they're pinker at their head and then they fade.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that they fade towards their body.
They're pretty much the pinkest corn snakes I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's really cool. I find corn snakes in my property all the time. Obviously, like normals, but still cool.
Have some that are normals.
Yeah. That's awesome.
They're traditional. Like, if you're a snake person, you
have to have a corn snake.
It's like you're a gecko guy, but you got a tokay.
Yeah, exactly. We have plenty, trust me.
This is that same gene combo without the A-male.
Without the A-male.
Oh, really? Wow. I've never seen one of these. I'm not a snake guy, so maybe this is more common with corns, but I've never seen one.
It's not more common with corns.
Oh, okay.
They're rare enough that your corn people that are watching are going to be like, dude, look at that.
That's sick. Yeah, it's like fucking pink. It's like pink and pastels and brown. That's so cool. And then I always feel like, do you have a normal I could show in contrast? Yeah. Wait, leave her out. Leave him out. Look at that. This is a normal corn snake, guys. For you guys that are spoiled with all these morphs and are seeing all these cool snakes and colors and patterns, this is what they look like in the wild. And this is an adult, so they don't get too big. They're very easy to manage. And look at that. Wow, bro. That is so cool.
Yeah, he's pretty insane.
Dude. Sorry. What's that one's called what? I'm sorry?
This is a Heliconia.
Heliconia? And what is that? Is that a recessive?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's so cool.
It's red factor, specter, Anory. So it's a ghost, but it's a red ghost.
Oh, okay.
And then that one is the A-male ghost.
Okay, gotcha.
Basically what it is.
Yeah. So cool,
corn snake people will confuse you with their morphs worse than bull python.
Yeah, really. I think the crested geckos are getting up there too.
I mean, corn snake people at least know them. They just mix them up differently.
Yeah.
And ball python people just make them up.
Hey, that is him who said that. Don't come after me.
Don't be mad, ball python people.
Little horns.
Let's show some.
You can show a couple of the babies, yeah. That'll show you how intense that those Heliconias are. And this is really the reason why we're targeting, because the babies were so intense that when we put them on the table, we had such a reaction from people. We were like, I think people like those.
Oh my God. It doesn't even look real.
They're like a neon sign is what they look like.
And the cool thing is she targets all the guys' girlfriends. So every guy walking around there buying a high-end snake, his girlfriend gets a pretty pink corn snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the guys talk to him. I get all the females.
Not a bad business strategy.
Yeah, he can't say no to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a badass morph whether you're a guy or a girl.
Yeah, and the way they hold their color into adulthood.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do, is keep things that are staying nicer in the long run so that when you have them, and then with our palmettos, we're trying to breed dirtier and dirtier and dirtier.
Yeah, so more
crazy
pattern.
Head pattern is.
Yeah.
Where we don't want them just white. We want them as busy as they can be.
And when they're born pretty much solid white.
Yeah, and they get as this gets older, it'll have more speckling on it. That's cool.
I'll show you the male.
Oh wow, look at that. And that's a Palmetto corn snake, and dude, this is one of the most popular morphs that has to be, right?
Yeah, and then this is what happened. This is the one that like the breeder gets that nobody gets to see.
Yeah, that not for sale.
Yeah, this is the one nobody gets to see.
That is really cool.
You know where the A-males are?
Yeah, I'll hold that while you look for your A-males. Look at that. Fuck, that's so cool. Just the red.
And he's the male that started our scaleless palmetto project too.
So he's head scaleless?
We bred him to a scaleless, and that's what these normals are. The normals are het scaleless palmetto.
Gotcha.
But he's the father of the line.
Wow.
And this is actually the first good baby that we got.
Wow.
It has bug eyes.
Yeah.
But it's a scaleless palmetto.
It's a scaleless palmetto.
He's even missing his ventral scales on
and
his
the funny
belly.
thing is it has bug eyes, but it's a female. Usually the bug eye tends to be in males.
Really?
But this one's in a female.
Huh.
But because it's a good solid snake, other than the bug eyes, we're going to breed it, because the bug eyes really isn't a defect. It's a byproduct.
It's not gonna affect its quality of life.
Yeah, it doesn't affect the animal's quality of life.
That's cool.
Well, I'm holding a scaleless.
It's also not something that it rebreeds.
Wow.
Like some of the babies from them don't have any bug eye.
Yeah.
But what's funny is the bug eyes come from the hets.
This is another scaleless.
And that's one of the siblings that came out perfect.
He's missing even more of his ventral
And look at the ventral scales.
Wow, there's like no ventral scales.
It's almost
on there.
100% scaleless.
Now Now these guys shed just fine. They have a complete shed, normal, or you have to give them higher humidity.
The bug-eyed scaleless, sometimes they have a little bit of issue getting their eye caps off.
Yeah.
But what I do is I just take some water and drip some water off the tip of my finger and he'll rub it off just fine.
Okay.
Sometimes they need a little bit of help, but generally shed just the same, care just the same.
Interesting.
They don't need anything really special. Maybe a little bit babysat why they're shedding, because sometimes they'll get it down and it'll be stuck halfway down like a skirt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you just grab it and roll it right down. But not like it sticks to them and it's uncomfortable or hurting them. Not a problem.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate the parting gift. I appreciate the palmettos you guys are gonna gift me. It's a great
be careful what you wish for. We make a lot of snakes.
This is an awesome snake.
Then you want a pink corn snake?
Yeah, right.
She's gonna see this video.
I'm not gonna let her go to your table. I'm not letting her go to your table. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this snake back. Thank you guys for having us.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, I don't do a lot of colubrids, but dude, I come in here and I just geek out on all the morphs and all the colors and the kings and the Mexicans and everything.
Because you got reptile in your blood.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a reptilian. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you subscribe if you like this type of content and follow them. You guys have a YouTube and Instagram and all that?
Yes, just
plug
Scott
it.
McFarlane.
Scott McFarlane.
Scott McFarlane. Just
on
Google
Facebook.
Florida Kingsnake morphs and we come up.
There you go.
We're
you heard it from the man.
Yep.
Sweet. Thank you guys.
Be good.
That's awesome, dude.